I spent the first 18 years of my life in India. Every time I go back home, the first thing I recognize as soon as my flight touches down is the smell. From the time you enter to the time you leave, a variety of smells are captured in the beautiful bubble of the culture of India. You will smell woods like balsam and sandalwood. You'll smell spices like turmeric and cumin. You'll smell flowers like jasmine and lilies. And of course, who can forget the smell of incense? All of these beautiful smells are so ingrained in my memory. So when I heard of an Indian perfumer who seeks to capture these smells in a fragrance, I was thrilled. So today we're talking about Anjali, an Indian perfumer who's based in the US, but spent her entire life growing up in India. Inspired by the memories of so many unique scents that you can find in our country, she decided to bring this art to the masses. Hello everyone, my name is Surya, and on this channel we expand the fragrance experience to all 5 of your senses. If that sounds exciting, hit the subscribe button and let's jump into Anjali Perfumes. So today we're going to take a look at 2 of the offerings from Anjali's line. The first is Mango Tree and the second is Flame Forest. Let's take a look. So I got a sample set from one of my good friends, Tammy, and I'm going to be smelling them for the first time on camera with you. So this is the sample pack I have right here. There are 4 offerings and we're going to be taking a look at all of them. I'll just be giving you my first immediate impressions and I'll see if it triggers any memories from back home. Let's open up the packet and spray the first scent. So the first scent we're going to look at is called Mango Tree. Of course, mango is one of those iconic fruits that you can only associate with India. And the mango tree has a very specific smell. So let's see if this captures that. This is the first ever spray going on a tester strip right here. Let's take a smell. Wow, this is really amazing. Now, when you hear mango, you might think tropical, fruity, but that's not at all what this perfume is. It's not a juicy mango. It's more of a raw, green mango. Now, if you've never had a green mango, the only way you can describe the taste is it's kind of tart and sour. There's not a lot of sweetness, but the fruit leans more green and fresh. And this fragrance perfectly captures that greenness of a green mango. There's also a beautiful woody tone that really stiffens up the fragrance. Fresh scents can feel a little bit too light, and this woodiness really strengthens the base and gives it some structure and form. I also get a little bit of a watery tone. It's not the salty water that you get in marine fragrances, but it feels more like rain. You know that scent you get from the first rain? This perfume really captures that scent as well. Now the smell of rain also blends with the smell of the wet soil and wet earth. So it really feels like you're sitting under a mango tree when it has just rained. I think on a rainy day when you're in a relaxed meditative state, this would be the perfect perfume for that. Now let's take a look at the inspiration as well as the notes from the website. Under the Mango Tree perfume captures the fresh green aroma of raw mango skin and my love for this tree. I was looking to represent the feel of the tree trunk, its deep green leaves, and the feel of the earth as you sit under it. Now the top notes are green mango skin, tomato leaf, grapefruit accord, and bergamot. The heart notes are wild rose and rose water. The base notes are fir, balsam, pine wood, dust, and hay. Now let's see what I think after I know the exact notes in this fragrance. Now the first thing that immediately pops out is that kind of green tartness that I found before. That note is definitely herbaceous, as described in the notes. There's also a bit of rose that now I can start to pick up, but this rose is very watery. It's not very dense or jammy. You can't immediately identify it as a rose flower, but it feels more like the rose stem, still very green. The last thing that I'm starting to pick up now is that dusty dryness, which really complements the rainy feel that I was getting earlier. That dustiness is what makes it feel like the first rain, because the first rain is what captures all the dust particles in the air and gives you that kind of earthy tone in that smell. Overall, this is an absolutely wonderful perfume and definitely worth checking out. Now let's move on to the next scent. This one is called Flame Forest. I believe Flame of the Forest is the name for this large orange tree, so I'm expecting this one to also be a woody fragrance. Let's spray it on. Oh, this is great. The last perfume was immediately green. This one is immediately spicy. There's this leaf we use a lot in Indian cooking called the bay leaf, and this reminds me a little bit of that smell. I also immediately get this aromatic spice, maybe something like saffron. I'm starting to recognize the DNA that Anjali seems to put in the different perfumes, because this also has that meditative, calming DNA that was present in the last one. Now the woody notes in this are also kind of smoky and incensey, which ties beautifully into that light aromatic spice. I do believe there's some pepper in here as well, because that one note reminds me a lot of one of my favorite designer fragrances, which is Moschino's Toy Boy. The pink pepper in this is not as playful, but it's still very prominent and adds to the overall spice. There's also a little touch of florals. Maybe this is coming from the pink pepper, or maybe there's some other florals in here, like rose. It's definitely not overbearingly floral, but there's a little tone in the background that adds to the overall grounding of the scent. Let's take a look at the inspiration as well as the notes. Flame of the Forest is a tall tree, standing prominently, dominating other trees in a landscape. Sometime around February, it blooms with brilliant orange flowers. I have a strong memory of walking barefoot under this tree. All around me, the ground was covered with orange velvety petals. I could barely see the soil. I gathered armfuls of wilted blooms and put them in my frock. At the end of the day, my hands were stained bright orange. Flame of the Forest captures the dry, brown wood of the branch, the smoke and flame this name conjures, and the raw feel of the bare branches. So the top notes are bay leaf, pink pepper, Texas cedarwood. The heart notes are champaka, saffron, Himalayan cedarwood, roses, and rosewater. The base notes are teakwood and ambergris. Now let's see if knowing the notes changes how I feel about this perfume. The smooth floral spiciness is still what I get off the top. Now we confirmed the presence of bay leaf as well as pink pepper, both of which give it this beautiful aroma. Now the aroma is also complemented by the saffron. This definitely feels like a standout fragrance. Now that I know the perfumer described this fragrance as bright, I can see how that ties well into the fresh, spicy nature. I think this is a great fragrance for fall, where you can wear it in the evening. There's no sweetness, but there's this beautiful, mysterious scent. I think that comes from the teakwood as well as how it plays well with saffron. Dark, spicy mystery is how I would describe this perfume. There's not any sweetness that I can detect, which I think is great for people looking for a dry, earthy scent. This was definitely a winner as well. Now these are the two fragrances from Anjali's line that are inspired by trees. In the next video, we'll experience her other two fragrances, Mantra and Jaya, and see how we feel about those. Thank you for experiencing these smells with me, and I'll see you next time.